I just want to cover my thoughts on the news that just dropped today about Shane Richie, famously known as Alfie Moon, returning to EastEnders later this autumn. It doesn't sound like it will be a full-time return. The description on Digital Spy said episodes, not anything about a full-time contract. I personally don't think we ever will see Shane Richie return to EastEnders full-time. If I'm quite honest, I think I don't think it'll happen this year. I think they would announce it beforehand, like they did with Peggy Mitchell's exit, or permanent exit. But I think Shane Richie will probably keep coming back for stints here and there until he decides, all right, I want to come back for one last time, kill the character off. I'm going to be playing the Spider UK suit quite respectively, as we are talking about EastEnders. I just want to give my thoughts on this because recently EastEnders has been it's been quite a mixed bag. Some episodes have been fantastic, some creative decisions have been fantastic, but others have been absolutely terrible. And I think it's saying a lot about the massive list of departures that have both came and coming in 2022. This year, I think, has been the biggest year for cast shake-ups since 2016. 2016 we had a lot of departures. This year we have even more departures than we've had in a long time. So yeah, Shane Richie coming back as Alfie Moon. I love Alfie. He is a fantastic character. Every time Alfie has exited, I've always been disappointed. I never got around to watching the spin-off series he was in with Kat. However, from what I heard and what I did see, I was really bored. I don't know, I just felt like it was mainly Kat's show. Alfie just did nothing really besides deal with his brain tumour plot, which was poorly resolved. Honestly, I think Alfie Moon in particular has been treated quite dirtily during his past few return stints. I think his return stint in 2018 was quite disappointing. I was so happy to see him back because I really wanted more interactions with Mick Carter, obviously played by Danny Dyer, and we're not going to get that because of course Danny Dyer is leaving himself. I have a few concerns for Alfie's return if it is permanent. I get the feeling that there's a chance that if Alfie's return is permanent, which I kind of doubt it is, if it is permanent, however, I feel as though they're simply doing it to get an iconic name back in the Vic as the landlord after Danny Dyer's exit. And obviously, I doubt Linda's going to run the Vic by herself. My ideal candidate for who would take over the Vic is gone, because Nancy left a couple of weeks back, which I'm still angry over. However, I do get the assumption that it was Maddie Hill's decision to leave, which is understandable. I get the assumption that she came back simply for job security because of COVID, which is, to be fair, a lot of people would have been doing that. But I just don't want them to disrespect Shane Richie's performance skills like they have with the past few return stints, because Alfie Moon in 2018-2019 had a complete personality transplant. He just became an arsehole, really. He became a massive arsehole. You know, the storyline they wrote between him and Kat cheating on him again, I thought that was just terrible. Making Alfie Cherry's father, again, that was a stupid decision. Again, something that was poorly written, poorly resolved. I just think it was a bit of a waste of time. Being completely honest, I wouldn't... he's such an amazing actor. This is what annoys me. He is such a stupendously good actor. That they did him dirty. They really did him dirty. And I think EastEnders have just really taken the liberty with Shane Ritchie's performance skills in recent years. I'm hoping that the storyline he gets will be good. Obviously, it's going to involve Phil Mitchell. Obviously, it's going to involve Cat Slater. I would probably assume that if they go down the classic EastEnders route, Cat is going to have temptations to cheat on Phil with Alfie. This is EastEnders, and unfortunately, as much as I love Cat Slater, I think she's a fantastic character, and I think Jessie Wallace is truly a remarkable actress and probably one of the best actresses on the show. It is in Cat Slater's tendency to cheat. I really just preferred it when she was single. I really did. I really preferred it when Cat was just single, because that way it gave her more individuality. And honestly, I think that getting with Phil was such a bad decision. So I do think that when Alfie returns, sorry, sorry, I get the feeling there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of resolution between what happened last with Cat and Alfie, and how Alfie literally kidnapped his own daughter. Legally, it's classed as kidnapping because I don't think they'd even registered the Cherry's birth. The way they treated Alfie 3 years ago was just disgusting. He's such a fantastic actor, and this is what you do to him. It was truly a waste of his abilities. I understand. If the thing is, if Alfie had returned on a more permanent basis, for example, if he'd have been around for things like the 35th anniversary, returning from lockdown, the Jubilee stuff, I personally think that there would have been a lot more opportunities. We could have had more interactions. We could have resolved the Phil Mitchell thing. We could have even prevented the Phil Mitchell and Cat Slater storyline, because I think it's a load of crap. I really do. I just don't think they did things right. I think there's a lot of good opportunities. For example, we could see Alfie establish himself as a father to Tommy, even though Tommy have recently learned that Alfie wasn't his father. I would like to. I'd move away from the Vic for now. Maybe this is just my heartbreak over the fact that Danny Dyer's leaving talking, but I think it'll be the cheap route to make Alfie the owner of the Vic again. Personally, I just don't see it. I think it'll be lazy. It'll be quite lazy. Now, don't get me wrong. Alfie was fantastic as the landlord of the Vic. He really was. He's really had something special. I think there's an opportunity to. Now, I'm not saying Linda and Alfie become a thing, but opportunity to explore a friendship between those two post Mick Carter's exit. However, I don't think it would got any more than a friendship, based on the fact that I feel like Mick and Alfie are too similar to some degree, where it would feel very lazy just pitting them two together. And also, I feel like Mick Carter and Alfie Moon are very similar characters, albeit Mick Carter has more of a front to him. He's got more of a backbone. He's a lot more. I feel like Mick Carter and Alfie Moon. Again, I'm bringing Danny Dyer into this because he's my favourite actor, my favourite character, and I'm still in denial about the fact he's leaving, even though as I've known since January. I feel like with those two characters in particular, one of the reasons I wanted to see them interact more, not just because of the fact that they had really good Cockney, chemistry when they were interacting with each other in 2014 and 15, and also it's quite poetic because the first person Mick ever spoke to on the square was Alfie. Technically it's Phil Mitchell, but the first one Danny Dyer shared a scene with was actually Alfie Moon. So there is that poetry in that regard. So I would like to see a scene between Mick Carter and Alfie Moon again, just before Danny takes his exit. But at the same time, I think they should probably discuss the Vic, but I don't think it'll be Alfie that takes it back. I don't think he should. I think Shirley should probably hold on to it for now. But if we do see anyone if we do see a male character take the Vic back, I personally, I'd keep it in the Carter name. I know they've had it for nearly a decade now, but I'd still keep it in. I'd bring Lee back or something. I don't know. Maybe it is time to have a new name. You know, it was quite nice to see Sharon take it back for a while after the lockdown, but I will admit my heart immediately fell back in love with the Carters running the Vic come March 2021. It was great seeing them back in the Vic, but again, back to Alfie. I think we're going to see a lot of feuding between him and Phil Mitchell. Not at one point do I feel like there's going to be a physical fight. I think if it gets physical, Phil is just going to put Alfie in a body bag. I'm not in disputing that. Yes, Phil lost a prison fight, but at the same time, he's Phil Mitchell. They will literally give him so much plot armor that he survives a bazooka. Like, I don't know at this point. That it would be nice actually to explore Alfie's dark side without the personality transplant. I'm personally referring to dark side as in hard man status, because Alfie Moon as a character and as a fighter, he's had some good fights. Never a full on. Well, actually, no, he has had a full on fight and he lost, or he got made to be quite a laughing stock. But Alfie Moon is what I would call an inconsistent hard man. He's thrown some really good punches during his time on EastEnders, or his stints. For example, Jack Branning, Minty Peterson. I thought his punch on forget his name. That's bugging me now. He's thrown some great punches, but then he's thrown some really crap ones. And I'm like, are you a good fighter or not? Thing is, Andy Hunter was it was tough, but at the same time, he's no match for half the characters that are on the square. Mick Carter, Stuart Highway, Callum Highway. I think Callum would beat up Andy. Half the characters on the square now have got, they'd wipe the floor with Andy Hunter. The only reason he was dangerous because of the fact he was effectively a gangster. Johnny Allen, he was pretty old. He literally pushed him over a bridge, for God's sake. But Alfie's punch on him was pathetic. It really was. Like, it was not that good. His punch on Derek Branning was quite weak. Especially because that year, which was the year before the Carters' arrival, what were they playing at with that storyline? Because obviously it was the big, who was Kat having an affair with, and it was revealed to be Derek. And I just wanted more explosion. Now, I wasn't watching EastEnders in 2012. I was 9 years old. I wasn't watching it until early 2015 with the 30th anniversary storyline. And I did go back and watch old things. Like, for example, I know that Alfie punched Jack Branning. I know that Alfie feuded with Andy Hunter. And smacked Derek Branning one, although really just gave him a really weak cross. It's great. It's great that we're seeing classic characters come back, but at the same time, are we going to keep continuity? This is what I'm really questioning. This is why I'm a little bit skeptical about a return for Alfie Moon. Are we going to have a Sam Mitchell thing where she's completely just intolerable? You know, this year in particular, we're losing massive names. You know, we've lost some significant names over the last few years. You know, yes, we've got Mo Harris coming back, but it won't be for long. You know, she moved to Spain. The whole reason she left was because Layla Morse moved away to Spain. You know, Mo Harris is going to have a brief comeback at best. You know, we're losing Danny Dyer. We've lost Jake Wood. You know, since COVID, we've had so many exits and departures. I think this is the biggest year. You know, the only reason I think people are really now taking off is because of the fact that we are post the COVID world. So, you know, whilst coronavirus is still a thing, you know, we're not on a lockdown. We're not in you know, these kind of situations, so that's great. But at the same time, now that the security has come back, and now that the opportunities have arisen again, actors are taking off and leaving. You know, don't get me wrong, COVID probably gave me my favourite EastEnders storyline to date. I've mentioned this 1,000 times, I'm really sorry, but it has to be Mick Carter's sexual abuse storyline. The way they wrote it, the way they directed it, the acting, the storytelling was just gorgeous. But since then, EastEnders have slacked. You know, that we've had some really crap things come out, and I want to see these actors get what they can bring. You know, I personally hated the way they portrayed Mick's character in Nancy's exit. They didn't even Maddie Hill made the decision by then, but they wrote it so that Mick didn't try and fight. Yeah, alright, he said, yeah, okay, I don't want to let you go because I don't want you to leave. Come on, like, we know that that's not who Mick is. They've treated they've treated Phil Mitchell like dirt, Sharon like dirt, Ian like dirt. All their classic characters they've completely disrespected. I think they've just taken a liberty with these actors' talents, really, and I'm not surprised that people are taking off. Okay, 5 of the coming departures set to go are axes. You know, they're purposely being written out to move the story along. You know, Stuart, Peter, Donna, Jada, Lola, they're all leaving involuntarily. So that's, you know, but you've got actors like Danny Dyer, Macy Smith, Jake Wood. I think, you know, you've got so many iconic actors and big names in you know, Britain, in the soap scene and in Britain's acting scene, that you've got, you know, yeah, it's hard to really articulate my thoughts on this because it's easy to kind of think about what they've done and what, you know, and I just think that Shane Richie, and a man of his talent, should be given the best possible work going. I'm not saying make him the main character of every single storyline that comes out, but I'm saying give him good, you know, good writing, which EastEnders have been significantly lacking over the last couple of months. In fact, the last time I think EastEnders had really good writing was how they handled Gray's exit, and that's another major actor that's been leaving. And personally, I just want to point this out, I do not think that axing and bringing back characters is going to sort this problem out. I think what's really going to sort this problem out is a complete reshape of the writing team. Now, Chris Clenshaw has just taken over as the executive producer, or co-executive producer, alongside Kate Oates, and I think there's an opportunity for him, but at the same time, they really need to think carefully about the choices they're making for these actors and these set designers. You know, what are we going to do? What are we hoping to gain? What's the actor hoping to gain from this comeback? You know, personally, I think the only reason Maddie Hill's left and you know, we haven't seen as many permanent long-term comebacks is because actors get one good storyline and then they are sidelined forever. That's what I seriously think. I seriously think that Maddie Hill, I keep talking about Maddie Hill a lot because she is my second favourite actress on EastEnders, or performer on EastEnders, but also I'm using her as an example here. If they'd have actually given her some better work, because yes, she got run over, yes, she got into a relationship with Zach, yes, she became quite a significant role in her mum's alcoholism storyline, something that isn't her storyline. You know, she had the sterilization thing, which was great. I thought that was really good. We got some beautiful scenes between Danny Dyer and Maddie Hill. She had a really fun and you know, enjoyable feud with Frankie, who is you know, now got to be my second favourite after Mick and Nancy Sun, my third favourite. But we still miss so much of that. Such a missed opportunity for Maddie Hill, and I just don't want Shane Richie to have the same outcome. I really don't. They've ruined Sam Mitchell's character, in my opinion. I think they did a crap job with her return. She's just basically turned into another Ben, where she's going to come back with a vendetta against against Phil. And I'm just thinking to myself, well, what's happened here? Because they're just using the same old stuff. You know, Ben Mitchell, when Max Bowden first took on the role, had the whole, oh yeah, I want to take everything from Phil. And now, don't get me wrong, he's killing it, but it's gotten him to this point. And honestly, sometimes I think, oh, it's today the day Max Bowden confirms his exit from EastEnders as Ben Mitchell, and I'm like, no, he's sticking around for a bit longer, hopefully. And I just think with Alfie, with Shane Richie, bearing in mind this man is a West End legend. Literally, the reason why he left EastEnders the last time was because he had a West End tour on the go. Like, this guy is a West End icon. My mum's even saw him perform live. Shane Richie is amazing, and I'm thinking to myself, you've got to show that with everything he does. Whether he is the main character of a certain storyline, whether he is, you know, a co-lead in a big storyline, whatever it's going to be, like, you've got to respect his talent. You've got to respect Jesse Wallace's talent, Steve McFadden's, Danny Dyer's, Adam Woodyard's, Letitia Dean's, Kelly Bright's, Maddie Hill's, you know, Lorraine Stanley. There's so many amazing performers on EastEnders, and they are just not treated with the respect. You know, their characters, every character has and needs to have development, but then there's a difference between clear character development and a complete personality transplant. You know, I want to see, personally, I want to see Alfie Moon develop more of a backbone without becoming just a complete and utter arsehole. Like, I want to see Alfie Moon stand up for himself and not care that Phil Mitchell's going to give him a slap. See him put everything on the... Basically, almost like when he... Kat was getting married to Andy, that was it. So I knew Alfie took a beating for her. It was brilliant. It was so good, and I absolutely loved the way they did that. yeah, all these years later, he's lost that backbone. I want to see him return to his glory days as a strong character, as a good character. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see weakness. I don't want to see Alfie just bottle it. That's what he's become. I want to see Alfie Moon come back, not some second-rate Ian Beale. That's literally what Alfie Moon felt like for quite a long time. You know, I'm not saying I want to see him go to war with Mick Carter and have him be the reason Mick Carter leaves, or make Alfie Moon the key for Danny Dyer's exit storyline. I'm not saying I want to see Linda Carter immediately hook up with Alfie Moon. In fact, I said quite the opposite earlier. I'm not saying I want to see Kat or and Alfie immediately back together, and Phil Mitchell constantly going after Alfie as part of revenge story. I want to see good, clear storytelling with oh crap. I want to see good, clear storytelling with Alfie and good development. I want to see Alfie come into his own as a father, because his kids are on the square and they probably don't even know who he is by now. Like, he has been such a lousy dad. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Kat is the best mum on the square. In fact, I think she's done some quite questionable things for her kids. But in terms of, you know, parenting, I think Alfie Moon is a pretty lazy dad for his kids, and I think it's about time we explore that, especially now that, you know, I think fatherhood and the themes of child abandonment and things like that becoming so prominent. In fact, I think that's one of the reasons why they have been so good recently with a lot of the things they've done with Ben's storyline, with Mick Carter's previous storylines. I think there's a reason. I think it's such a massive story, but at the same time, I think it's time that we start exploring the redemption of lazy parents. And yeah, we got that with Shirley, but what about the men? When, you know, we have so many kids and stuff with blatant parental problems. What about the parent that is failing to provide for their kids? That's what I would personally do. I wouldn't bother faffing around with the whole love triangle between Kat and Phil. I'd you know, address it. Maybe have I guess one physical confrontation, because I love the fight scenes. I love them. But I'd leave it at that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not happy that Kat and Phil together. In fact, I despise the pair of them together. I think they're a crap couple. You know, I think it's just pointless fan service, really, because you get the characters that think, oh yeah, Kat and Phil. You get the fans, I mean, that would look, oh yeah, Kat and Phil would have been alright together. And it actually happens, and what is this? Complete personality transplant for the pair of them. I think EastEnders need to focus more on character-driven storylines than cheap fan service, and, you know, really get back to the nitty-gritty of why their storylines are so good, why their storylines can be so good. Because recently, I don't think I've felt too immersed. I've really enjoyed some of the stuff they've been doing. I think Ben Mitchell's current storyline is amazing. Max Bowden, Aidan O'Callaghan, I think that's his name, Tony Clay, Gillian Taylor, they've been absolutely astonishing in this story. Jamie Borthwick as well, been amazing, but, you know, at the moment it's kind of it's depending on just a few things, you know. The show's depending on actors like Danny Dyer, Steve McFadden, Jesse Wallace, Lacey Turner, Kelly Bright, Letitia Dean for so long. I think it's time to give the actors good writing to progress the storylines before, instead of just making it all dependent on the actors. and putting that pressure on the actors to deliver a story. I want EastEnders to be putting on the best storylines they could possibly can. Because I honestly, if they are good, I might still continue to watch after my favourite characters leave. But if they're not, I don't see the point. Because I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting my money watching EastEnders when, in all honesty, I could just be doing something else. I could just be watching something else. When I just get so fed up of the same old rubbish. But, you know, it's just as simple as that. I can just turn something off. And I don't want to, because I like EastEnders. I've been watching it for my entire teenage life. First year of my adulthood, I've been watching it. And I'm thinking to myself, what's the point in stopping now? But if it's just going to make you miserable, then there's no point watching it. Because it does. It makes me miserable. You know, and not even because of the storylines. It's because of just the blandness of it. The comedy is a joke. I'm sorry, but I used to find Kim Fox quite refreshing and quite engaging. But now I just think she's the most unlikable character on the soap. And that's, you know, I've got some strong dislikes for a lot of characters in the soap at the moment. I just think to myself, well, I'm kind of at a loss here. I want to feel engaged, I want to enjoy it, but I'm really not. I think it's just a bit ridiculous, if I'm being completely honest with you. Yeah, I think they've got some huge responsibility ahead for bringing back Shane Richie in a good way, you know. I would like to do more of these EastEnders based streams, just talking about the soap as a whole, and things I want to see for EastEnders. I do want to start watching The Walking Dead again soon, because I still have yet to watch Part B of the final season, and the series is ending this year. I might even catch up on Part A a little bit, just because it has been a while. I want to talk about my thoughts on San Diego Comic-Con, because obviously we'll get more news on The Walking Dead, Marvel Studios, Riverdale, the final season that's set to air next year. You know, I want to see. I want to start talking about my favourite, well, things more. I did do a Kenobi stream, although I had to stop because the connection was getting really sloppy and stuff. So I might go back and finish my thoughts on that. But yeah, if there's anything in terms of EastEnders related that comes up, I might talk about it, I might not. I think the next time I talk about it will either be a full stream based on how I would write Mick Carter's exit, but you know, whether I do or not, it's a different story. Anyway, thank you so much for checking in on this stream. To those who did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time, and peace out, guys. Bye bye.